Here I'm going to go over the math boxes for lesson 6-12. So let's start with number 1. Sneha kept track of how much water she drank in April. The first and third weeks of the month, she drank 3 1/4 gallons each week. So she did that 2 times. The second week, she drank 3 3/4 gallons, and the fourth week, Sneha drank 4 1/4 gallons of water. How much did she drink in 4 weeks? So what I would do is I would write these over again. So in week 1, she drank, so her first week, she drank 3 1/4. Week 2, she drank 3 3/4. The third week, she drank 3 1/4. And then the fourth week, she drank 4 1/4. If you don't lay out the information, it's really easy to skip doing 3 1/4 twice. It's really easy to make a mistake. Okay, so now we're going to write this as a number model with an unknown. And the unknown is going to be how much water she drank in 4 weeks. So I'm going to put a G for gallons of water. So I'm going to add all of the whole numbers first. So 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 4 is 13. So we have 13 for the whole numbers. So now let's do the numerators. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So 13 6/4. Now I know that 6/4 is a improper fraction, so I have to take out a whole number. So 6/4 minus 1 whole equals 2/4. So remember, the 4/4 is 1 whole. So if I have 13 plus 1 whole, I get 14 2/4 of a gallon. Okay, let's look at number 2. Divide, show your work. First, we're going to estimate. So I like to estimate in 10s and 20s. So 7 times 10 is 70, which is kind of close to 91. But I bet we can even go a little bit higher. And I know 11 times 7 is 77. So I'm going to estimate and I'm going to put 11. So now let's actually divide. So if I did 11, I would get 77. And if I did 91 minus 77, I would get 14. And I know that 14 is a multiple of 7 because 2 times 7 would give us 14. So we have no remainder. And we have 13. So we're going to put 13 up at the top here. 91 divided by 7 is 13. We're going to do the same thing for B. So 5 times 20 is too much. It's 100. And then 5 times 10 is only 50. So I think we can go a little bit more. And I know 15 times 5 is 75. So I'm going to go with 15 as my estimate, or somewhere around there. And I know that 15 times 5 is 75. And 82 minus 75 is 7. Now I know 5 cannot evenly go into 7. 7 is not a multiple of 5, but I can get close. If I do 5 times 1, it would give me 5. And 7 minus 5 is 2. So my answer is 16 with a remainder of 2. Because I got 16 here and with a remainder of 2. Okay, let's go to 3. Subtracting fractions with like denominators. They all have like denominators. So A, 2/4 minus 1/4 is 1/4. Unknown value minus 8/2 equals 0. Well, I know that anything minus itself is always going to equal 0. So 8/2 minus 8/2 equals 0. Unknown value minus 1 and 2/12 equals 2 and 3/12. So what I'm going to do is turn this into a addition problem. So 2 and 3/12 plus 1 and 2/12 equals, do the whole numbers first, 2 plus 1 is 3, and then the numerators, 3 plus 2 is 5. So I get 3 and 5/12. Okay, D, 5 and 3/5 minus 2 and 4/5. Now, you have to be careful because here is a smaller numerator and here is a bigger numerator. So you're going to have to convert these into improper fractions, or you could just try subtract or taking out a whole from just this problem. So if I do 2 and 4/5, and I need to make this numerator bigger, I'm going to take a whole from the 2. So if I take one whole from that 2, it's 1 and 5/5 plus 4/5 equals 1 and 9/5. And actually, I did this for the wrong fraction. I should have done it for the 5 and 3/5 because we want this fraction to be bigger, that numerator to be bigger so we can subtract. So if I have 5 and 3/5 and I want to take out one whole from this 5. So if I do 5 minus 1, I'm going to get 4. And I took out that 1, which is 5/5, plus 3/5. And I get 4 and 8/5. So if I change this to 4 and 8/5, now my numerator here is bigger than here. So now I could just subtract across. And this actually changes to a 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. 8 minus 4 is 4/5. So you get 2 and 4/5. We're going to do the same thing for E. I'm going to take this first fraction, so the numerator is now bigger because 2 cannot be divided into 7. Okay, so if I take 8 and 2/10, and I take out one whole from this 8, 8 minus 1 is going to give me 7, and I took out that whole, which is 10/10 because my denominator is 10, plus 2/10. And I get 7 and 12/10. So this is now 7 and 12/10. 7 minus 5 is 2. And 12 minus 7 is 5/10. And if you want to simplify that even more, you could do 2 and 1/2. All right, number 4, just like our math message, comparing decimals. 75 hundredths is greater than 57 hundredths. 5/10 is less than 8/10. 9/10 is equal to 90 hundredths. 7/10 is greater than 17 hundredths. 52 hundredths is greater than 5/10. And 83 hundredths is less than 9/10. Okay, reasoning. Explain how you solved 2b. So what you would do is you would write in words what you did to solve 2b. So you would start off by writing, first, I did partial quotient, and I know 15 times 5 is 75. So you would go through each steps in written form. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.